Have you ever wanted to know how your potential buyers are thinking when you're speaking to them and to truly understand the decision-making process that a lot of buyers go through? And there are different types of buyers out there. So if you've ever wondered what makes your customer tick, well, today we're going to be diving into the cool world of buyer's psychology. You know, I love talking about stuff when it has to do with the brain. So join me today as we talk about different diverse motivations and decision-making processes of different buyers and strategies that you can use during conversations that are going to help you to overcome any objections that they might have. So as always, hang on in and we're going to do our little dance party as we wait for our VIPs to jump on in and all the live viewers to join us. All right, let's start with the Sparkle song, right? Hang on, let me find that little button.
You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. You always thought that you were weak, but babe, you're wrong. Yeah, you better step into the light, just give it a try. Think that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. And who cares if you might mess it up? You're stronger than the others think. And who cares if you might mess it up? Go ahead and shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine. You shouldn't doubt yourself, 'cause you're a work of art. You should know that you are perfect with those flaws. Yeah, you better step into the light, just give it a try. Know that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. And who cares if you might mess it up? You're stronger than the others think. And who cares if you might mess it up? Go ahead and shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine, shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine. You're stronger than the others think. And who cares if you might mess it up? Shine. Go ahead and shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine, shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Strategy with Sally. I'm your host, Sally Sparks Cousins, the founder of the Sparkle Class Academy and the creator of the Freedom Funnel Formula. And I love talking about sales psychology. You know, selling, no one's born with the skill, right? But it is a skill everybody can learn to do. And I really feel that if you start to truly believe in, like I do, that selling is truly helping, then you will fall in love with selling. Because at the end of the day, when someone says yes to you and to your product or to your service, they're saying yes to wanting help, right? And if we don't get our ask into gear and actually tell people and ask people if they're interested in learning more about what we do, then we're not actually running a business, right? We have to sell or it wouldn't be a business. So, sales psychology is what we're going to be talking about today so that we can really talk. I really wanted to look at different consumer behaviors and different decision making patterns. You see, every buyer that you will meet is very unique, right? They're driven by distinct motivations and preferences. And really, you want to understand these nuances because they can significantly increase your chance of getting a sale and also the sales strategies that you use in conversations, in interactions with clients, even on your emails, sales pages, and funnels. So, today I've put together a list of 8 different buyer types, and I'm going to share with you kind of what each buyer type is and some examples of that. And then also, for each buyer type, there's usually a main objection that will hold them back. And then I also want to talk to you about what you can actually do during your conversations to help you overcome those objections. And then afterwards, we get through all the different buyer types. I want to talk to you about different ways in which you can kind of pay attention and start to put these different people in different buyer type buckets. So are we excited for today? Yes? I know in the VIP room they are. Joanne was dancing and Maria, she's like, come on, Joanne, dance with me in the chat. And they're all having a lot of fun and laughter in there. So I do love that as always. All right. So let's start talking about the first buyer type, which is an impulse buyer. Who out there thinks that they're an impulse buyer? I also like to call them jumpers. That's me. I'm a bit of a jumper, right? An impulse buyer is somebody who's often quick and they also make unplanned purchases. And this is usually based on an immediate desire or a big, strong emotion rather than a rational decision-making process. So they're often really influenced by factors like visual appeal, also those limited time offers, and any emotional triggers that they may feel when seeing your content or talking to you. So an example of this during a conversation, what you might find is an impulse buyer might show you really immediate excitement, right? They're really enthusiastic about your product or service. And, they're really attracted to the visual appeal or the limited time offer. And they may ask you about a quick purchase, right? How do we just get this done, right? This is urgency in their decision-making process, right? But also, as we mentioned, they're quite spontaneous in their decisions. However, they don't always stick, right? They get a lot more buyer's remorse later because they haven't really thought about it. So, the main objections you would hear from an impulse buyer is usually hesitation due to the impulsiveness. But also they have a fear of missing out as well. Like, if I don't do it now, will I be able to get it later? So a way to really overcome an impulse buyer's objection is to really highlight the immediate benefit that your service or program will do or give them, or the emotional appeal of that product or service as well. And you can use really persuasive visuals, like we love our infographics here inside of the Sparkle World, and also creating that sense of urgency or limited time, or it's a flash sale. That will really help get your impulse buyer over the line. But here's a hot tip. Make sure that you deliver good results in 30 days because your impulse buyers, like I said, are less likely to stay and they'll churn out. And I really want you to focus on retention and loving your people. So make sure you give them a fabulous onboarding experience because they're more likely to stay with you. All right, the next type of buyer is the budget conscious buyer. Now, as we work through all of these, I want you to write down each of these and make note as well. So, always come with a pen and paper. And then let me know in the chat, which one do you think you are? Or send us a DM where we will reply to all messages. All right, so let's talk more about the budget conscious buyer. Now, they're primarily motivated by best value for money. So they'll really compare prices and the look of discounts or the deals that you're providing, and they'll start to prioritize affordability over other factors. So when discussing your product or your service with a budget conscious buyer, they might ask questions about pricing, about discounts, and about payment plans. And they might also compare your offer to other competitors, or they'll inquire if there's any cost saving opportunities for them as well. And they'll also express interest in maybe your value proposition or your product or your service, but focusing on the best return on their investment. So they really are seeking reassurance about long-term benefits. So the main objection that you'll find with a budget-conscious buyer is cost, value for money. So to overcome objections of a budget-conscious buyer, make sure you appeal to them by emphasizing any cost effectiveness or value that you provide. Provide really clear pricing structures and show them cost savings that they might get or ROI. And also offer them flexibility options to accommodate any of their financial concerns. So that's the best way with those budget conscious buyers. All right, the next one we have for you today is the needs-based buyer. So these make purchases based on a specific need or a problem that they just need to solve. So they're prioritizing functionality and practicality and utilizing their buying decision to make a choice, right? So an example during a conversation of a needs-based buyer is they're likely to talk about the specific problems that they're facing, and they're seeking solutions that is tailored for them. So they may ask really detailed questions about your product or service and how it would address their needs. And they might also express interest in all the practical aspects of your offer, such as how does it function, what do they get, all of the features, so that they can know that it will help them in the long run. Now, the main objection that you'll find with a needs-based buyer is about their specific need, right? Will your service or product meet their need? So a way to address this is to really showcase how your product or service is directly addressing whatever pain point that they're telling you, because they will be literally telling you what they're there to solve. And the best way for that is to share case studies and testimonials so that you can demonstrate successful outcomes in a very similar situation. And that will really build a lot of confidence in your buyer towards what it is that you're offering them. Now, let's move on to the fourth buyer type, which is the luxury buyers, right? Now, luxury buyers, they're motivated by exclusivity, prestige, and also being associated with premium products and services. So they prioritize brand reputation or craftsmanship over anything else, even over the price point. right? If they can align themselves with somebody with a really great reputation or a really highly exclusive, well known brand, they'll probably say yes no matter what price it is. Right. So, in a conversation, what you'll find with a luxury buyer is that they may emphasize that exclusivity, the prestige about being associated with you or your product or service. They may also inquire about, the high end features of your product. Like, what is that top tier level that they can buy into? Or what are the unique benefits that they will get by being one of your high ticket clients versus, those low level clients as well. And they may also ask lots of questions around quality and standards and the overall experience. But really, what you want to do with these people is definitely show them your top tier products and services. Now, the main objections you'll find with a luxury buyer is justification for the pricing. So they might have concerns about the value that they're going to get. So a way in which you can overcome this is really to appeal to the buyer by emphasizing the exclusivityness, how well it's been designed, how unique it is on the market, what your brand actually offers, and highlight sort of those qualities to really justify the premium pricing. Some people join our program because they just want to work with me, even though I've got an entire amazing team of people. Luxury buyers are thinking, well, if I buy in, I want more time with Sally, right? So, of course, they're going to go for the higher tier program. All right, let's move on to our fifth. All right, we've got 8 of these to get through. We're up to number 5. So the fifth one is your brand conscious buyer. Now, brand conscious buyers are really loyal to specific brands or even companies, right? So they value consistency, trustworthiness, and the brand's image or reputation as well when making their purchasing decision. So when you're discussing your product or service with a brand conscious buyer, you may find that they reference other programs and their loyalties to specific brands, or they may ask you to demonstrate your own reputation, your own values, and also they want to see customer reviews, and they may prioritize trust and consistency in their purchasing decision. So a brand conscious buyer is also going to inquire about your commitment to them, right? What are your ethical practices, your community involvement? And they want to see that you're showing preference towards them as well, and also that you're aligning yourself with other reputable brands. So, for example, a brand conscious buyer might think, whoa, Sally's worked with Amy Porterfield or Pat Flynn, right? Or Brock Johnson or Shalene Johnson. So those kind of alignments. Or they might go, wow, she's a certified partner in Keep and in Kajabi, and she's taught inside Kajabi and been a speaker for Keep. Also for Canva. So you can see by you building relationships with influencers in your field and companies in your field, it's really going to help your brand conscious buyer have more trust in you. So their main objection would be if they're unfamiliar with you and your brand, because their loyalty already exists with other brands. So the best way to overcome objections with a brand conscious buyer is to highlight your brand's reliability, customer testimonials, positive reputation and reviews. You can also offer them loyalty programs. You could personalize their experience or give them guarantees to reinforce their trust and encourage that brand loyalty as well. All right, number 6 is researched orientated buyers. This is my husband. I always call him Dan, the man with a plan, but don't call him Dan, call him Danny because that's his name. It's just because it rhymes. But he is totally a research oriented buyer. He will conduct extensive research before making any purchase. I mean, out come the Excel spreadsheets and the comparison charts. He's not only comparing price, but he's also comparing features and benefits, right? They're seeking a really detailed information from you. They'll also compare product reviews. I mean, we've joined, what is it called? That company that, um, there's a company you buy a monthly subscription to so you can review brands like vacuum cleaners or washing machines, right? He even joins those so that he can analyze all the specifications and make a really well-informed decision. Now, he doesn't like me. I'm a bit of an impulse buyer. I'm like, I like it. I want it. I'll buy it. But then I have buyer's remorse because of it. But with Danny, I'm like, come on, make a decision faster. So, what are you going to do with these people? So, during a conversation, a research-orientated buyer will most likely ask you really detailed questions about your features, the specifications that they're after. They might even ask to look at performance metrics. They may also ask for comparisons. So, what they want to do is compare your solution against others. And they might also request supporting documentations and even case studies for you to show them. So you'll find that they might even mention to you that they've already conducted a lot of online research, or they've even come into a call and they can tell you that they've read your customer reviews and they start kind of quoting things to you. So you'll notice that in conversations as well. And they may also ask for other documents and other references that will help them to really validate their findings. So the main objection you'll find with these people is the need for excessive or extensive, in my opinion, excessive, if I'm talking to my husband, extensive information, right? They're going to do comparison shopping. They're going to pull out that Excel spreadsheet and start writing everything in and then take a really long time to decide. This is why the fortune's in the follow-up, especially with these guys. So what you want to do to overcome an objection is to appeal to these types of buyers by providing comprehensive product and service details, really transparent reviews, and even comparisons against your competitors. So offer this as educational content. You can do it in demos. You could do it in free trials. And all of this will really help you to kind of push them over the line and facilitate this decision-making process that they're going through. All right, our next buyer is the impersonal buyer. Now, an impersonal buyer, they prioritize effectiveness and convenience. That's what makes up their purchasing process. So they may want to have more of an automated transaction, right? They just want to be able to click the button online and go shopping. They may just want to purchase just on recommendations without that really deep personal engagement. So a lot of these people will buy your lower tier programs. A lot of the impersonal buyers that are looking for those high tier, $10, $20, $30, $40,000 programs, they're probably going to want a conversation with you. I know I do. Even though I'm an impulse buyer, I still want a conversation before I make a purchase. But an example of an impulse buyer what they'll do is they'll show you really a preference towards that quick, effective transaction during that conversation. They might inquire about automating the order process, or what online payment options are there, or what other ways can they streamline their purchase experience. So in a conversation with an impersonal buyer, you may also find that they mention things like they're relying on recommendations from either an algorithm that pops up, right? This is why the pixels and the Google thingies are fabulous, because they start chasing those people around the internet, right? And they may prioritize convenience over that face-to-face communication. So their main objection would be that lack of sort of automation and process. They might have concerns around transaction security, and they don't want to spend ages on a call with you. So to really cater for these impersonal buyers, to overcome this objection, make sure you've got a really seamless online experience. We always call it, we want a fabulous customer experience. I will go through our customer experience time and time again to feel what it looks like. So this is why building out your customer's life cycle and the user experience is super important. That, remember, we always build a fast path in our automation. We always build a slow path for when they say no or not yet, and no dead ends. So they're constantly being nurtured by the automation, by the systems. So use automated reminders, right? Personalize your recommendations for their shopping experience, but keep it more online. All right, and the final one, and one of my favorite buyer types, is the relationship buyer, because I love helping people, right? And relationship buyers really do prioritize those long-term relationships with either the brand or the seller, right? They value customer service, trust, and that ongoing communication that they can have with you that will really enhance their experience. So during a conversation, a relationship buyer really will focus on building rapport with you and establishing a really long-term connection. And you might find that they ask about ongoing support. They want to look at your personalized services and any loyalty programs that you might have. And a relationship buyer may also mention previous positive experiences that they've had with your company. So if you are out there and you're constantly putting things, like we've got that good karma feel here inside the Sparkle world, which is just share everything, right? Because 1% of people will actually take action, and don't be fearful that you'll share too much, right? Because these positive experiences that people will have, we've had clients come back that have been, thank you, sorry, husband just dropped off coffee and it's freezing here. Let me just, so good. All right, thank you, darling. All right, I digress. Where were we? So they might express sort of interest in regular communications, and they'll constantly be seeking reassurance about your commitment to their satisfaction, and also how responsive you will be if they've got questions. So the biggest objection that you will find is that they want to know that they're going to have that relationship with you. There's going to be those connections that they will be able to build with you beyond the purchase of that product or service. So to overcome an objection, make sure you really build a great rapport with these relationship buyers. This will be through personally interacting with them, really being attentive to your customer service, and being proactive in your communications. And other things you can do is offer rewards for loyalty or exclusive access, or, open up things early to them. Personalize any offers that you might have to really strengthen the relationship and foster that loyalty. So there we go. When you're speaking directly to your buyers, especially in sales conversations or in your customer interactions, what you want to do is start to think about the buyer types, right? And to recognize what buyer types are, there's a few strategies I want to share with you that's going to help you to identify in real-time conversations what type of buyer it may be. All right, so one thing you can do in a real-time conversation is, this is pretty self-explanatory, but active listening, right? Good active listening. Don't always be thinking about the next question. Really listen. Pay attention to what the buyer is saying, what they're emphasizing during the conversation. Are they focused on price? Are they focused on quality or maybe a specific feature, or any other aspects of the product or service. So this can be an indicator to what their primary motivations are. So the first one, active listening, right? There's a reason why you got 2 ears and a mouth, one mouth, right? Because you want to do 80% listening and 20% of the talking during a sales conversation. The second technique is questioning. So while you're speaking to them, in that 20% of the time that you are speaking, make sure you use open-ended questions. So this encourages the buyer to share more about what it is that they need, what are their preferences, and it will help again to make you see what is their decision-making criteria. So for example, you could say like, what are the most important factors to you in making this decision? Right? That alone, that simple sentence can reveal so many insights into the buyer's priorities. Now, another cool little few words I love to always say is tell me more. Those 3 magical words. You may ask an open-ended question and get a 3-word response and then say, well, tell me more. And there are many ways to say, tell me more, like, oh, that's interesting. Can you elaborate? Right? I used to actually have post-it notes across the top of my computer screen with different ways of saying, tell me more, to make sure that I'm probing beyond that initial question or answer. Now, the third thing you want to look for is non-verbal cues. So these are non-verbal communications such as body language. What is their facial expression? What tone do they have in their voice? This can provide huge cues into what the buyer's emotional state is and also their level of interest in what it is that you do. So a buyer who is enthusiastic about your product, you might find them leaning more forward, right, during the conversation, or nodding all the time. So keep an eye out for those. We call them, like, those little mini closes where they're nodding in agreement with you as you go or leaning towards you because they really want to pay attention. All right, the fourth thing is feedback and responses. So pay attention to how they're speaking and how they respond to different aspects of your product or your service, whatever the pitch is that you're giving them. So do they show interest when you discuss certain benefits or certain features, right? So, or are there any hesitations or any resistance that they might feel when you bring up certain topics or shift to, the pricing or the commitment? So pay attention to those feedback responses that you're getting. And also all of these things that I'm going through with you are fabulous message mining things that you can be doing to improve your messaging in your emails, on your sales pages, in your funnels. All right. Now, the fifth thing is there's decision-making indicators. And this is where you're looking for signs that actually indicate, we don't want a phone call. Thank you. Look for signals where sort of they're indicating what is their decision-making process. For example, an expression of urgency or a hesitation can signal whether or not they're ready to move forward or maybe they need more information. So what I always like to remind myself during the decision-making process is I do not control their credit card. I cannot force them to pull their credit card out and make a purchase, unless there was a gun to their head, and that's something we don't do. We cannot force that. That is out of our control, right? Them pulling their credit card out is out of our control. But what we can control is giving them more information. Continuously giving them information which will then reassure them that they're making the right decision. So just remove yourself from the emotional connection to the outcome of getting the sale and focus more on information, giving them resources and tools. And sometimes it means sending them away for them to do more research But never forget, don't finish a conversation without booking your next conversation. My phone should be on mute. It's going crazy. My daughter is talking about Saturday Night Live. She wants to watch with dinner tonight. All right. So again, we are on all sorts of tangents, but I always just know your stuff, right? If you know your business, if you know what you do and how you serve, it's not hard for you to back that up with additional resources for them to go and read or watch or listen. But then make sure you do book that follow-up appointment, right? Because the fortune is in the follow-up. Now, the next thing is you might find them making comparative statements. So listen for comparisons that buyers may make between your offerings and competitors. And this can reveal the criteria that they're using to evaluate you and what they most value in their purchasing decision. Now, the seventh one is you need to be adaptable in your communication. Now, we do give our clients a sales script. I would more call it like a sales outline script, right? Because depending on who you're speaking to, you will need to adjust your communication style. And based on the cues that you're getting, the approach that you have will be different for different people. So, for example, if a buyer's really emphasizing, price sensitivity, or they are focusing on, you demonstrating value and cost effectiveness, you need to ensure that you're providing that in your communication. So we've got a sales, there is an episode out there. We will link it in the show notes where you could go back and look at our sales framework, our sales script framework. But using all of the things that we spoke about above, open-ended question, looking for cues, listening to their tone in their voice, all of these things, active listening is really going to help you in the long run during your sales calls. So it takes practice. We're not born with the skill to sell, but it is a skill everybody can learn if you're open and willing to learn to do it. And really, at the end of the day, if you're running your own business, you need to learn how to have effective sales conversation and also to understand buyer psychology and the different types of people out there. It's so important. All right, now, as always, we have a bit of get shit done, some GSD for you. So today's GSD task is I want you to review some of your customers' personas. And what I want you to do is identify which type of buyers do you see mostly come up in your target audience, right? So this is going to allow you to start to tailor your marketing messages and all of your sales strategies to really better address the motivations and the objections. So if you don't have luxury buyers because you sell a low ticket, that's fine, right? Or are you selling the high ticket and you want those people to really look at your reputation and who you're connected to and what brands you're connected to? So make a bit of a list so that you don't have to do them all, right? But definitely use the different strategies during your conversations that we spoke about today. So to wrap up, what I want to say is understanding buyer's psychology is really crucial. It's both crucial for effective sales conversations and also for your content, your landing pages, your emails, all the stuff that goes out that you use for marketing and sales. And make sure that they're resonating with your audience. So we've explored lots of different motivations and also the objections of different buyers today, but remember to adapt your approach, right? To meet each and every person's individual unique needs. And the more you can start to segment out people and really understand who are, the most amount of people, or, which segments mostly are attracted to you, it's really going to increase your sales success. Well, there we go. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today on Strategy with Sally. I hope you found today really valuable. And don't forget, if you're out there on the big wide world and you share this, right? Subscribe to YouTube. It's the best place to make sure you don't miss out on any lives. And every week at this time, I go live and I'll be sharing more actionable tips in sales, automation, and marketing. So tune in next week. We're going to explore so many other things with you. But also, I want to say all of our VIPs and clients that love to watch on the live stream, it's time to come on in because we have an announcement that we're actually going to be making to our clients today. So if you're out there on the live stream, I see many eyes out there, come into the VIP room now because I do have an announcement for you all. But for everybody else, keep your ear close to the Sparkle world because something exciting is coming. Okay, really exciting. And we're only speaking to a select few people about, I don't know. We're not going to talk about it today. Christy's like, do it when you go dark. She told me this morning. She's good at keeping me on task. All right, everybody, as always, never let anyone dull your sparkle. Make sure you get at least one income-producing activity done each and every day. And I will see you same time next week. Bye, guys.
You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. You always thought that you were weak, but babe, you're wrong. Yeah, you better step into the light, just give it a try. Think that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. And